I came up with a story that changed the way I look at the world and that has in great part influenced me here. There was a super successful entrepreneur giving a conference, and he was talking about the bright future that technology has ahead. Finishing his talk, out of the crowd, he's asked, "Since you're a millionaire philanthropist that's done so much and so many things, what do you believe is the problem that we have for the world, and how would you solve it?" He took a moment to think about it, and he answered, "We do not have one problem, we have three. We have a problem of unsustainable development, we have a problem of economic inequality, and we have a problem of spiritual disconnection. And if I could only solve one of these, I would choose to start with spiritual connection. Because when a person is connected to his inner self, to nature, to God, he does not allow to be unjust with nature, with the environment, or with his fellow mankind. And it is that idea, that spiritual connection, leads to a mindset that can transform the way we see the world, has brought me to one of the most astounding inventions of our century. Today, I'm part of a team that has been developing the technology to transform any type of plastic waste into 5 different types of clean fuels in an innovative, sustainable, cost-efficient, and low-impact way. It wasn't that long ago that I moved to Tulum. It was 3 years ago that I arrived to what I consider to be a paradise. Beautiful beaches, underground rivers, 800-year-old Mayan archaeology, sitting out there waiting for us to explore in the jungle. Probably one of the most remote locations, and yet, because of the last 10 years, growth from tourism and the economy has brought one of the largest consumptions of plastic for the region. And today, we see plastic polluting everything from our streets, from our jungles, our ocean, and our beaches. The thing is, plastic is not just a problem for Tulum. It's a problem for the whole wide world. We see how we've been overwhelmed our environments, no matter the country and no matter the place. In 1950, we started developing plastic in industrial uses. From then until now, we have created 9 billion tons of plastic waste. Of those, more than 6 billion has ended without any other future ahead of it than a final disposition in landfills, in the best cases, or end up polluting sensitive environments in the worst. And we tend to forget the mismanagement implied. Think about all the inefficiencies and how plastic to this day has only degraded to be eaten by fish, creating that 60% of seafood has a presence of nano and microplastics. Every time we eat, we are at risk of putting plastic into our bodies. This cannot be so, and it cannot continue as such. It's been for the last 10 months that I have joined efforts with the Care With Me Foundation in Tulum, along with a talented group of bright individuals that are working relentlessly to bring this technology into market, where we can conveniently transform plastic, any type of plastic. Think about high-density plastic, low-density plastic, PVC, polyethylene, polypropylene. It can come from toothbrushes, car parts, you think about it. And every part of our life has an interaction with plastic. It's brought us to the point of civilization where we can sustain population with cheap logistics and transportation, medicine, food, which is packaged, and all of our technology involves plastic in some way or another. Can we live without it? I don't think so, and I don't think we should. because plastic has brought us to a place where we don't need to extract any more resources from nature that were very hazardous, such as glass. And imagine how many trees have been saved by the plastic that we've created. Yet, the real enemy is not plastic, it's the behavior we show towards it. It's this carelessness and recklessness about it and the ignorance of the value it holds that has not allowed us to use plastic as the valuable resource it is. Think about natural and biological cycles. Plants and nature do not see waste. That's a label that only humans use. And if we take the label of waste from plastic, what we have is one of the most valuable resources that by reverse engineering, we can turn back and create 5 types of different clean fuels. One of the things that we've been working on is how can plastic be sourced from different places in order for it to stop dispersing into our environments in such a manner that we can have regenerative programs that clean up dirty sites from landfills to beach cleanups and gives plastic a grateful way to move forward into more mobilizing and energetic capacities that it holds. It's been for a long time that the tools we've had at our disposal have been limited in how we manage and conduct our relationship with plastic. Instead of being grateful for the many benefits that it has brought to mankind, we've become sour. We've seen how its negative effects on the planet have put us at risk in probably one of the most sensitive and hazardous times for natural environments worldwide. And we thought about what happened to plastic. When we throw it away, we fall into the delusion when what we're really doing is throwing it at someone to pick up for us. And it's that type of mentality of carelessness that has also been part of recycling. Recycling is a myth. From the 9 billion tons of plastic that we have created, only 9% has been recycled. And its limitations, and probably one of the most least looked at aspects of recycling, is the process behind it, which is not environmentally sound or convenient, having to separate plastic that has been already mixed by consumption. And we find landfills creating environmental debt, concentrating tons of plastic from all of us, in the hope that generations to come will know what to do with it. For now, what's left is having it disperse through our environments, degrade into ever smaller pieces, and in the worst of cases, it's burnt, putting some of the most hazardous toxins out in the atmosphere, contributing to gas emissions of the greenhouse effect. This puts us at a time where the United Nations, along with over 190 countries worldwide, have taken action to do something about plastic waste and plastic management. And I've been lucky enough to meet Edgar Padilla, a Mexican engineer from Salamanca, Guanajuato, who, just like color TV back in the day, has invented a new way of looking at plastic, a way that allows us to bring it into a new life cycle where it can become clean and valuable fuels that are not only less contaminant than most conventional ones, having 50% less carbon dioxide emissions, 100% less sulfur dioxide emissions, and no lead or heavy metals present in it. And the fact that we use it implies that we are cleaning up our planet, and we are putting every dime of a dollar into kilograms of plastic to be treated and to be revalued as a resource where we can obtain clean energy in a transition to other types of renewables in the near future. We know this is not the only answer, and we hope it's not just the best answer, because we come from a long tradition of engineers that have been looking into and studying the process of pyrolysis. And it's probably one of the least known solutions for plastic waste. Yet, it does have its limitations. And it's been the creativity and ingenuity of a Mexican engineer that is now putting this technology to the market that had the idea to use vibration, to use temperature and heat to transform any type of plastic into clean fuels. And I'm here with proof that this is happening, and it's already happening in Tulum. Plastic was not brought to Tulum to get a suntan. It's been us that, by consumption, have brought it with us. And now we have the tools and the technology that a Mexican engineer has developed in Mexico, in Salamanca, Guanajuato, the cradle of refinery, industry, and oil. And from that vision, it came to him that he could rethink a process that's been existing at least since World War II, called pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is a technical name for the change in the state of matter from solid into gas. Usually, you had to use what's called a catalyst in order to produce a chemical process that could allow any of the products obtained to be put into an internal combustion engine. However, the material used as a catalyst, known as zeolite, is not only hazardous in its extraction, it also produces cancer, and it's toxic when humans breathe it in once it's emitted into the atmosphere, making pyrolysis one of the most inconvenient solutions to the plastic problem that our generation has faced. However, it was the brilliance of introducing vibration and the thought of quantum mechanics that has allowed our process of non-catalytic pyrolysis to break the carbon chains present in plastic into ever smaller pieces, doing it using only temperature and heat. So imagine this. Imagine if we could take any type of plastic, shred it to make it into even smaller pieces, and place it in a reactor that will be heated to 350 up to 600 degrees Celsius, transforming the plastic matter in its solid state into gas in the absence of oxygen. So we're not burning plastic, we're transforming it. And that allows us to continue a process of refining where we obtain from 100% of plastic, 5% paraffin with a medical grade that can be used for makeup from beach cleanups all over the world, or candles in communities that can benefit from these type of craft activities. Then we obtain at least 12% kerosene, which can be later used as a base for jet fuel or directly in industrial flares. And afterwards it gets more interesting. We get diesel, 55 acetanes with ultra low sulfur diesel, with no presence of lead and heavy metals, allowing it to be one of the most powerful fuels that we can create out of plastic. And last but definitely not least, we get, in a cold part of the process, gasoline with 102 octanes that not only allows us to have 20% more power when we use it, but also gives our engines 20% more lifetime because it no longer keeps any of the rubber in it. And all of this process is fueled by the butane propane gas that we receive at the end of it, which goes back to heating the reactor and transforming any type of plastic, especially disposable, that have no other future ahead but to pollute our environment, into clean fuels, changing the paradigm from what a plastic footprint we've created that not nature or mankind knows how to balance or mitigate, into a carbon footprint that is not only minimized but also mitigated. It's the plants by themselves, along as a million inventions by mankind, that are starting to deal with the carbon footprint that we've created. If we can change our mindset, if we can come from a place where everything is possible, Tulum can keep being the dream it is, and we can start waking up to a better world where together we can transform all of our waste into clean energy that will fuel our future and have us stay away from fossil fuels that are only doing hazard to our environment. And that is why we're partnering up with foundations, NGOs, companies, and everyone and anyone willing to put forth their action into deplastifying our environments. And we're raising $1 million to start a 4-ton plant that can be placed in Tulum to preserve one of the most beautiful and most sensitive environments that the world has ever seen. It's now, it's possible, and here's the proof that the future is now. And we no longer need to think about leaving a debt to be paid by future generations. If we start taking action here, and we start taking action now, with initiatives like the transformation of plastic to fuel, that is a local solution to a global problem. So think with me and join us in taking this technology to the world, allowing us to democratize this innovation and put it in the hands of everyone and anyone, from companies that manage plastic to companies that operate and benefit from plastic to ourselves. We've seen that humans consume at least 2 kilograms of plastic. Can you imagine the world we'd live in if, instead of seeing plastic as something to throw away and to mind less about what happens to it, and instead be grateful that we can place it into a process that can set it free and transform the world that we want to leave for future generations? The time is now, and we're here to transform plastic into waste, just as we're here to transform the mindset that this is a valuable resource and that hope has not been lost.